Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for another Bible Toolbox Talk. Are you all ready? Are you awake out there? Are you listening? Today, we're going to be talking about Daniel chapter 5, the writing on the wall. Interesting little story here. Belshazzar, the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar, or some kind of relative of Nebuchadnezzar. We think he's a grandson. He's taken over the kingdom. His grandfather's probably dead 10, 15 years, and this guy's in charge, and he's not a very good king, not respected, not loved like his grandfather, not feared like his grandfather, because that's what the thing that kept everybody in line with Nebuchadnezzar. He was a strong leader. Well, this guy's more into the party life. Here he is. In chapter 5, he's having a big party. 1,000 people there. 1,000 of the local lords and guys, girls, wives, mistresses. They brought them all together for the party, so having a good time. And they get bored. So this guy's thinking, you know what? I've got a bunch of golden vessels from Jerusalem that my great-grandfather or my grandfather captured, you know, so many years ago. Let's drink out of those. Let's drink our wine and have our party out of those. You know what he's talking about? He's talking about the golden vessels from the temple in Jerusalem. This is when they went and Daniel and his friends were taken. The temple was overrun. Jerusalem was taken over. They stole everything. They took everything from the temple. They took all the gold, all the golden fixtures, anything that was of value, they took it, along with the slaves and everyone else that they took. And they brought it back to Babylon. And they just had it in the storeroom. So this guy's having a party. He decides to drink his wine out of God's chosen vessels, which is not going to end well for this guy. So what happens? And they see fingers writing on the wall, fiery fingers. No body, just a bunch of fingers and writing on the wall, and everyone's scared to death. And it is so bad that it shows you in verse 6 that this guy Belshazzar, his joints of his loins were loosened. What the heck is that? Basically what it is, the guy soiled his pants. So the king saw this fiery fingers on the wall. He knew he was kind of in trouble, and he soiled himself. He was so scared. But the writing was on the wall, and nobody knew what that writing was about or how to interpret it or where it came from. So there's some people that were there, probably people that were as old as Daniel, and told the king, "Oh, king, remember this guy Daniel." Because the king's saying, "Bring all my soothsayers, my magicians, my smart people, my wise people." But they say, "This guy Daniel." And he says, "Oh, I remember the story about Daniel. Daniel was in Nebuchadnezzar's time. He interpreted his dreams, and he was a smart guy, and he's somewhere in the kingdom. And I don't use him because I got no need for him." That's my feeling, is what he felt about Daniel. He had no need for him, so they pushed him aside. So they went and rushed, and they got Daniel to come in, and he tells Daniel, "If you can interpret this, I'll give you a third of my kingdom, and you'll be the third guy." And Daniel, true to form, tells this guy, he says, I'm not interested in your stuff. He says, "You want me to tell you the truth? I'll tell you the truth, but you're not going to like what you hear." So the king tells him, "Please, tell me." So he looks at the writing on the wall, and it says, Mene, Tekel, Upsharshim. I have no idea what that means. Nobody knows what that means. Nobody has any clue. And Daniel says, the meaning of this: "God hath numbered thy kingdom, and it is finished. Thou art weighed in the balances and found wanting. Thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians." And this king understood. This was a message from God. This was a message from the Almighty God. He was done. He was finished. So what happens here now? Unbeknownst to the king, the Medes and the Persians were actually outside of the Great Babylon. And nobody was worried about being attacked by the Great Babylon, inside the Great Babylon, because it's this huge complex, a huge city with this gigantic wall around it. The wall was supposed to be so big and so tall and so strong it was impenetrable. And they had enough room where you could have 2 chariots racing around the top of the wall all the way around. So it's huge. It's huge. It's protectable. And then they had a moat, and they had a river coming through the city, through the middle of the city. And what they did at that time was that they had your green area, your planting, and your food was coming from inside the wall. This way, if you were under siege, if there was an enemy outside, you could sustain for years inside and not have to go outside to get your food. You won't starve to death. You can grow stuff there. And if you have water, and if you have ground, if you have seed, you're in business. So what these guys did, these Medes and the Persians, smart guys, they went upriver and they diverted the water. They diverted the river, so it made the water come down. Then they basically walked underneath the fortifications. They came inside, they opened up the door, they let their guys in. Everybody's asleep because they're having a drunken orgy for who knows how long. And they just came in and they took over the whole town without firing a shot. Everybody probably woke up out of their drunken stupor and there's a different king. They didn't know. Well, this guy got killed. This King Belshazzar, he's got killed. They have no need for him. They probably took whoever they wanted to, and then they, instituted their policies and kept some people, made examples and killed the others. That's the way the Medes and the Persians did it. But the Medes and the Persians are interesting. They're in history on that time. They're the Iranians, they're the Iraqis, they're those people of that the Persians. A lot of people in Iran, they call themselves Persians. They don't call themselves Iranians, if you ever met these people. So it's an interesting dynamic you have here of what's going on in the kingdom. And also on this time, in this time period, with the Medes and the Persians, the book of Esther happens too. So we got a lot going on with these Medes and these Persians. And Daniel has more interactions with them, I'm sure, because he ends up being one of the more favored people now with this new kingdom, as we'll see in chapter 6. Well, that's about enough for today. I hope you get the gist of chapter 5. I hope this kind of like enticed you to want to go and read the whole chapter and see what I left out, because I just gave you a brief overview. There's more there. So that's my goal, is to make people want to go read the Bible, all people, because this is for Jewish people, this is for Christian people, this is for all people. This is not just for me. This is for me, you, and everyone else. So my name is George Lucas. I'm the Bible Toolbox Guy. You can get a hold of me at BibleToolboxGuy@gmail.com if you've got any questions. If you want to ask me a question, you want to give me a comment, you want to complain about something, I might listen to the complaints, but not really. But just whatever you like, okay? Anyway, thank you. Have a good day. God bless you.
If you like what you saw, please be sure to like and comment on this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.